Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 288. Tonight, we're going to continue following the financials of the Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell criminal enterprise. We're getting news tonight that 2 more subpoenas have been shipped off in regards to the financials of this case and the Virgin Islands. So we see the scope growing almost on a weekly basis at this point, especially when it comes to the financials. Why in the world would Leon Black be funneling $10, $12, $14 million through one of Jeffrey Epstein's front companies in the Virgin Islands? What are you looking to accomplish with that? Trying to wash that money? Trying to stash it? Trying to hide it? Those are the questions that need to be answered. And that's what these subpoenas intend to do. They're going to call these people under oath to come and speak about the financial aspect of their relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And for a lot of these people that were involved with him, they're going to have a lot of explaining to do. Because I don't know how you can explain a $250,000 salary as a personal assistant. And as far as money laundering goes, well, we know that that was going on in an abundance here. Now, they might not have come out and said that, the authorities, right? But when you follow the circumstantial evidence that has been provided for us from all of the articles that we have read and all of the articles that are out there, it is very, very, very clear that these companies that they set up offshore in the U.S. Virgin Islands and elsewhere were obviously operating as front companies and a way for them to wash laundered money. And never mind the money that they had going through these banks. What about the cash? We know that Epstein wasn't just dealing with a debit card here, right? He had a ton of cash, and he was giving bags of cash to people. You can't track cash, you can't trace cash, unless, of course, you have a sting operation set into place. But for the most part, that's why stuff is done in cash when it has to do with illegal activity. So we know that Jeffrey Epstein was definitely passing out bags of cash as well. But these transactions that occurred in the Virgin Islands with these front companies, these transactions from people like Leon Black and other super so-called members of elite society, they all need to be looked at with a very, very stringent eye. Because, look, how many more examples do we need to see of the super elite, the super rich, still try and cheat their way through? How many times have we seen these people evade their taxes? How many times have we seen these people launder money? How many times have we seen these people get away with it? I don't know about you folks, but I'm pretty tired of it. If they would have just kept their shenanigans to thievery, grifting, and all-around general political degeneratism, then I probably would have never even taken notice. But you add in the whole sex trafficking factor to it, and well, there is only one conclusion anybody with a straight thinking mind can come to, and that is that the people who were involved in this, be it the biggest, richest banker in the world or a lowly butler, they all must answer questions for what role they played. And that's what we see going on here as this probe begins to expand in the Virgin Islands. Our article tonight is from Bloomberg. The author of this article is Patricia Hurtado. Headline: Epstein records targeted in expanding probe by Virgin Islands. The Virgin Islands has expanded its document search in a racketeering lawsuit against the estate of deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, issuing new subpoenas last week after demanding records from 6 financial institutions in July. And it's very interesting that this is a racketeering lawsuit, right? Obviously, in the civil sense, but still, it's progress. Anytime we see the word racketeering next to Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell or one of their enterprises is a day that is a good day. Because once this blooms into that, and once this becomes a racketeering case criminally, then it's game on, and the shoe is about to drop on the rest of these people. That's when you know that the prosecution is really serious. That's when you know that the SDNY has taken the gloves off and they're really looking to put people behind bars. Carol Thomas Jacobs, the territory's chief deputy attorney general, said in court filings August 24th she had subpoenaed Epstein-related records from American Foreign Exchange Incorporated and Narrows Holding LLC. Again, more of these little banking type institutions, these places where Jeffrey Epstein was able to wield all sorts of influence and have all kinds of questionable, if we're being generous, financial transactions take place. See, the idea is, if you have enough people working on the inside, well, then this stuff won't get into the Vincent database. This stuff won't get SARC'd. This stuff won't end up in Title 31. And that's the whole idea, right? If you have enough money and you can spread it around and you have some people in your pocket that are bigwigs in these companies or board members or whatever it may be, it sure makes your life of criminal activity a whole hell of a lot easier to navigate. And that's what we see with these financial transactions. That's what we see with these companies. There's a reason that Epstein chose these companies. There is a reason that Jeffrey Epstein would park money here or move money through here as a middleman. It's not because these companies are, 5-star rated on Yelp. Okay, it's because either A, Jeffrey Epstein knows somebody who has done business with these companies before and this is how they roll, or B, Epstein might have a guy or a girl or somebody in between that might work in the boardroom or whatever it may be. But there is a reason why these places were used. The prosecutor wants records and account statements from American Foreign Exchange tied to more than 24 Epstein entities since January 1st, 1998 until the present, according to court filings. From Narrows Holding, the territory seeks documents and electronically stored information or objects, along with permit entry onto the designated premises, records show. So not only are they looking for the electronically stored information, they are requesting actual physical entrance into the premises that are being subpoenaed. So these two places, American Foreign Exchange and Narrows Holding, they're looking at not only being basically audited digitally, they're talking about sending agents and, I'm guessing, forensic accountants onto the property in a physical manner to finish and continue to conduct their investigation. That's pretty serious peril for these people, right? That's the kind of shit you see in TV shows. American Foreign Exchange and Narrows Holdings couldn't be immediately located for comment. A spokeswoman for the Virgin Islands Attorney General's office didn't immediately return an email seeking comment about the new subpoenas. And they have been extra busy in the Virgin Islands with these subpoenas, right? And again, I'm not a big fan of Denise George, especially considering her money grab when it comes to the survivors' fund. And I've been very adamant about that from the beginning, that the Virgin Islands should be ashamed of themselves for even thinking that they're entitled to any of this money. And the fact that so many prominent people in the Virgin Islands were associated with Epstein, were taking money from Epstein, received donations from Epstein, and, let's be real folks, knew what Epstein was. Well, it doesn't sit well with me that all of these officials were in power in the Virgin Islands. They enriched themselves on the backs of these girls who were being abused, basically, and now they're going to try and re-victimize them by getting money out of this fund? It does not sit well with me. Denise George should be ashamed of herself. Somebody needs to check her. I don't know who it might be, but somebody needs to sit this lady down and have a talk with her. Stick with these subpoenas here and going after the money so that the survivors can get what they deserve. A place like the Virgin Islands and somebody like Denise George need to keep their fingers out of the cookie jar. Denise George, the Attorney General of the Virgin Islands, sued Epstein's estate and 6 related companies in January, alleging violation of the territory's civil racketeering law. It is seeking unspecified damages, forfeiture of Epstein's private island in the territory, and restitution for his sexual abuse victims. This is what I was just talking about here. The forfeiture of Epstein's private island, none of that stuff is going to fly, in my opinion. It can't be allowed to fly. All right? That island needs to be sold to the highest bidder. That money needs to go into the estate so that it could be chopped up and the girls who were abused by Epstein can get a little bit of that fortune for themselves so that they can start their lives again, right? So that they can start over. You know, no matter how much money you get from this estate, it's never going to change the fact that you were abused by this man, right? Or that this man caused you irrevocable harm. But it does help out starting the rest of your life and getting things moving perhaps in a positive direction for some of these survivors, I'm sure, for the first time, maybe in a long time. So that's why I think that it's so important that they're compensated correctly. And the fact that Denise George thinks it's a good idea, that they think they're going to get a little bit of restitution, like they're going to sit at the table twice here, well, I just don't think that it's not an acceptable thing to happen. Authorities on the island are also conducting a criminal investigation into whether Epstein's longtime associate Maxwell participated in his criminal sex trafficking ring. Maxwell was arrested in July in a separate probe involving similar charges brought by the U.S. Attorney in Manhattan. She has pleaded not guilty. Epstein was found dead in a federal jail cell about a year ago after the U.S. charged him with sex trafficking. So, not only do we have this investigation running right now, the civil portion of this running in the Virgin Islands, there is also a criminal investigation underway that is running concurrently with the one that's happening in the SDNY in Manhattan. I am interested to see what sort of progress they've made in the Virgin Islands and if they have taken a different angle when it comes to the criminal side of this case. It's going to be interesting to see what they release coming forward and if any charges come out of this as far as the investigation criminally in the Virgin Islands. I'm very interested to see where it goes. Last month, George asked the 6 financial institutions for account statements, deposit and withdrawal slips, information about the source and destination of funds, and the identity of those requesting the transactions. And this is a big shot across the bow, right? This is something that will have all of these people terrified. Information about the source and the destination of the funds. So where they originated and where they ended up. And the people who received or sent those funds are going to be on the hook to answer for what occurred here. You signed your name to it, right? You received that money, right? Well, now you have received money that has been attained via ill-gotten gains in the commission of a crime. So now you are also part of the conspiracy. If it's good enough for Italian people all over the country, it most certainly is good enough for Jeffrey Epstein. She is also seeking internal bank memos, phone records, internal correspondence, and documentation of any internal due diligence or investigations related to the account. And it is a very interesting situation that we see evolving in the Virgin Islands. As these subpoenas become more, more forthcoming in the future, right? As we start to see more come out of these subpoenas and the process, it's going to be interesting to see how much of the findings in this case relate to what's going on in the case in the SDNY and vice versa. And I wonder, and I would think that the attorney generals working on both cases, or at the very least the prosecution teams that are working on both cases, are in contact with each other and trading information. At least you would think that is occurring, right? You would hope anyway. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all breaks, folks. I mean, we got a lot of things that are happening here, and things are happening pretty quickly. So we're going to stay on top of it, and we will continue to follow what happens here in the Virgin Islands and in New York and every place else that has to do with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell getting the justice that they so deserve. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. All right, everybody. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning.